Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Coffee Break, our weekly catch-up with PR professionals doing interesting jobs and interesting things. And really delighted to have with us this week Binna Kim, who is one of our 40 Under 40 honorees and is also the co-founder of Vested, a hot financial communications shop. So Binna, welcome to the show and congratulations on your award.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be on.
Yeah, so first of all, tell us about your lockdown setup, where you've been working and what's it been like for the last 4.5, 5 months, and how challenging has it been to operate, in these crazy circumstances?
Yeah, great. And that is a very large question
I know,
to
sorry.
answer.
One of
As
my ones
I,
with lots of sub-clauses. I've got to stop doing that.
no worries. Well, you can tell from my surroundings, I'm actually in my parents' basement because I have 3 kids. They're 6, 4, and 2. And normally I live in a very small place in Jersey City, but for 3 kids that age, they need some grass and space. I'm here in Massachusetts, actually hiding from them while we do.
Mum needs some space as well.
That exactly, and that speaks volumes, I think, of the COVID experience so far. I'm not gonna lie, I think for any agency professional or owner, it's been a very challenging first 6 months of the year, and I am so grateful to have such a great team of people and besties, as we call them, around me to support. But I think COVID has been challenging as a working mom to have been homeschooling them for the first part of the year, and also trying to keep them from going completely insane without having social contact with other kids. Certainly been challenging as an entrepreneur. I think for any agency owner, you're looking ahead and thinking, what's going to happen? What's the impact going to be on my business? How do I protect my staff and keep them safe? How do I protect the business and grow it in this kind of an environment? And, do you remain incredibly optimistic about the outlook for the business? Do you get very conservative and paranoid about the potential future? And as agency owners, you have to make decisions every day that are really challenging. And I have to say, we've been really fortunate to have made, the right decisions, I think, in the first 6 months of the year, and have, fingers crossed, managed to navigate ourselves pretty well so far. So it's been challenging. It's been educational, certainly, and I have never wanted so much to just be out and about and enjoy a glass of wine with some friends.
That's right. Yeah, no, there's been a lot of wine deliveries, though, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's the most challenging part of it? And have you had to do furloughs and layoffs? Have you had to? Did you apply for PPP money to see you through? For an agency owner, what's been the most challenging part there?
I think the most challenging part is making the right decisions while protecting your core. And that's what we describe it as, is how do we protect our ultimate core? And our core is our people. How do we protect our people? At the leadership team level, we decided to make pay cuts so that we could protect our staff, ultimately preserve their salaries, and preserve headcount as best as possible. We did apply for PPP money and we did receive it, which of course is great. We spent a lot of time building a COVID center, doing a lot of crisis work with our clients, helping them figure out PPP funding, for example, and how to talk about it. And I think that allowed us to not only retain the vast majority of our clients, but also to win clients in this kind of an environment, which I think speaks to Vested's value proposition and also how much of a consulting business we are. I think we've been very fortunate in this environment.
Yeah, tell us about your particular area of expertise and how clients and that part of business has been affected.
Yeah, so we're exclusively focused on financial services and the ecosystem within financial services, including fintech companies, blue chip financial, large technology companies servicing the financial sector. I think we've been fortunate in that the impact on financial services has been relatively, at least they've been less impacted compared to those in travel, hospitality, transportation, et cetera. So I would say we've been fortunate in that regard that our clients have, for the most part, weathered the crisis actually fairly well. Yet to see in terms of what, the rest of the year in 2021 is going to look like. But I will say our clients have managed to soldier on fairly effectively in spite of the crisis.
So have there been like fewer deals and maybe fewer, I mean, or have you just had to amend the type of the way you do things, like communication around results, financial, quarterly earnings, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah, I would say that it's been very agile. I think that so one thing to know about Vested is we are an integrated agency. So what we provide is not just communication support, but integrated support across, paid, owned, earned, and shared. And I actually think that's helped us quite a bit during this environment because we've been able to be quite flexible in how we support clients, helping them build COVID communication centers for both their staff and their customers, helping them develop email campaigns, thinking about visuals and videos that they could be helping to disseminate information about what's happening. And so I think that's given us the kind of agility and flexibility our clients needed, especially in this kind of an environment where every week changes so quickly. I will say, I think from a deal standpoint, I think it's been a challenging economic environment for most firms, obviously, which means they've become more tentative in any sort of buying decision. I think we've been fortunate, again, to have a really great ecosystem of clients, but also we're very connected into the industry. And I think that has helped us because we've been able to offer great consulting advice to a pretty wide variety of clients, which means from a pipeline standpoint and from a growth standpoint, Vested is still growing, which to me is a major win in this kind of environment. And I think speaks to the value proposition that we bring to the financial services industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've also got your investment fund, Vested Ventures, and your sort of proprietary tech platform. Talk us through how those are doing, especially in this time.
Yeah, I will say, knock on wood, our Vested Ventures investments have been performing well. Our last investment was in a company called UNest, which is in the college savings space, and they have been performing well and been doing well. And kudos to them; they have a great product, and I think the value proposition continues to be seen by the industry. Quoted is going gangbusters, to be honest, and I think we made significant investment, time, energy, resources into our technology platform, which at the end of the day is a great platform for agencies. And so we've actually seen a fairly significant increase in agency clients on our Quoted platform. And I think it's allowed reporters and PR people and sources to connect even better in a virtual environment. If you can imagine, there's more need for great sources from a reporter standpoint and from a PR standpoint. I think we're anxiously looking for ways in which to connect our clients into the opportunities that exist. So Quoted has been doing tremendously well, and the volumes and the take up on the platform are increasing exponentially.
Yeah. So looking back, you sort of left Cognito with your co-founders about 5 years ago, went out on your own, took that brave step. What's your reflections looking back on that, and what would your advice be to anyone else thinking of starting up their own firm?
Yeah, we definitely had our Jerry Maguire moment. My advice is, one, have great partners. I think for any entrepreneur, it's hard to go it alone. I think for any successful business, you really need great partners, but by your side to be there for you thick and thin. And so I would say for any entrepreneur thinking about it, I always say partner up, don't go it alone. It's very lonely as an entrepreneur. So I say find great partners. And I think the other thing is in the early stages of building a business, it's invest. I think as an entrepreneur, every dollar that you bring in, you think about, okay, do I put that dollar in my pocket to pay my bills, or do I stretch even further and put that dollar back into the business? And I think our mentality has always been invest in our people, invest in our infrastructure, invest in talent, invest in technology. And I think that allowed us to really rapidly grow Vested versus taking the dollars for ourselves, putting it into our own pockets, and effectively slowing down the business. Even though arguably we would have been richer for it, we took all that money and put it right back into the business. And I think for any entrepreneur that's looking to truly scale their business, my advice is invest every dollar you can back into that business if you wanted to truly scale, even though it may be tempting to take money out in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, because you've made a few acquisitions, haven't you? So you've definitely grown both organically and through acquiring other firms too.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I think that's a great example of that investment, our investment in building Quoted, our investment in bringing on great talent, our inorganic growth through the acquisition of Scribe, for example, which is a content studio that we acquired. We expanded regionally to Toronto, for example. We also made investments in Talking Biz News and, of course, an investment into Caliber, which is our sister company. So inorganic growth has been a critical part of our scale as well.
So how do you see it playing out now? What's the next phase of growth? I mean, obviously there's been a bit of a hiatus. We've all been facing that and dealing with that. But how would you ideally like to grow it over the next couple of years? And do you have an end game in mind? Sell to a holding company? What's the sort of plan moving into the future?
Great question. I'd love to say I have a crystal ball and I know exactly where we're going to be. At the end of the day, our flippant answer to that question is world domination, obviously. We are very focused on growth, diversification, and scale. And what that means is obviously we are growing rapidly as a firm and we continue to do so. Diversification in the sense that we really build our business around the financial CMO and CCO. And we think about, okay, as a financial CMO and CCO, what do they need? They need community, they need education, they need great technology, they need great consulting. And that's what we provide. We actually launched a community earlier this year called Financial Narrative, which you can find at financialnarrative.org, which is actually all about community building for the financial CMO and CCO. It's got great event programming. And that is a good example of how we continue to diversify the businesses that operate under the sort of vested platform of companies. And if you think about that and multiply it by 10x, our growth over the next 10 years will look like this expansion of the vested platform of companies, the content studio that we operate, Financial Narrative, Quoted, and so on and so forth. And, what is the end game for us one day? We never built this business to be a lifestyle business. We didn't put our names on the door for a reason. We plan to scale this company. In terms of exit, I mean, we'll see. We this business could be going on for many decades. We think this would be a great value proposition to partner up with a consulting firm, for example, to offer these types of services to portfolio companies or to firms that they're consulting with. So let's see. But our plan is to continue investing and continue growing as much as we can.
Yeah, if you do that, good things come along, don't they? If you concentrate on growing the business and doing a great job for your clients, then opportunities.
We never want to stagnate. Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And just to finish, so you mentioned you're a mom, and it's challenging doing the homeschooling and with the kids at home all the time, and just being trapped in four walls. What's the biggest challenge been over the last 5 months, and how's that going to play out? We were talking before we started recording about kids going back to school, and there's no easy answer, is there?
No, there is not an easy answer. And I think parents are faced with impossible choices, paying attention to the kids to help them with their homework, or dialing into the video call that you're supposed to be on, or, you're cooking meals, or, having to run errands at the same time you're trying to be as present and as visible for clients when they need you. I think for working parents, this has been a really challenging situation. And to be honest, I think it's going to continue to be a challenge heading into the rest of the year, as far as things look like right now. I think the hardest thing is likely, being present in all that we're doing. And it's hard to be present when you're not in an office sitting alongside your colleagues. We're very much relying on the power of virtual communications and video conferences like these, or phone calls, texts, emails, and at the same time trying to be present for your family and your children when they're running around next to you. And I think at the end of the day, we're all doing the best that we can. And I have to give credit to my fellow working parents and to all the folks out there who are doing the best they can without childcare. I think that we are all doing as much as we can to support our families and each other, and support our teams and support our businesses. And I will say, I think we have fared better than most in the transition to virtual, but it is certainly always a challenge, especially for the parents.
Yeah, no, amen to that, and keep up doing that brilliant job. Congrats again on the 40 under 40.
Thank you.
Forward to celebrating virtually. We'd love to celebrate in person, but we can't do that this year. But thanks for joining us, Binna. It's been terrific talking to you, and good luck with the future at Vested. Sounds really exciting.
Thank you. I'm very excited.